Hey everyone, and welcome to episode 6 of That's My Drink. So I want to start this episode with first a thank you, and then hopefully some exciting news for people that are watching these. The thank you is actually directed at everyone who's watched any of the episodes 1 through till 5 up till this week. The first few videos, I'm sure we can all agree, were very long-winded, poorly edited, and just a little bit hard to watch at times. It's been a massive learning experience, this. I think I finally got to a point where I'm actually churning out videos that I'm at least vaguely happy with on a weekly basis. As you've seen now, I've got a jingle, which is nice and happy and exciting. And yeah, so thank you for sticking with me whilst I learned how to do this. Probably should have researched a bit more to begin with. Secondly, the exciting news is that the videos are going to be still posted on Facebook, but I'm actually created a YouTube channel to put them onto now. Decided that Instagram isn't the place for 10-minute long videos on how to make things, but YouTube's kind of full of them, so I should probably put them there instead. So yeah, YouTube channel and Facebook for videos, Facebook and Instagram for pictures. Cool. So back to the matter at hand. This week we're looking at cordials, which are a really useful ingredient that is already balanced for you, so it does a lot of the hard work for the cocktail in one ingredient. So let's have a look at those. So first thing we should really cover is, what is a cordial? So the best definition I can really give of one is it's a syrup-like sort of balanced ingredient that you can that provides a really intense burst of flavour, but isn't too sweet, isn't really sour, it's just nice and balanced right in the middle. So examples of cordials, you can use fruit-based ones, so things like lime, which I'm going to make a version of a lime cordial later. You've got flowers you can use in it, so think elderflower cordial, and then you've also got, you can also use spices in conjunction with them as well. Due to the nature of cordials being nice and balanced already, they give a little bit of texture, they give that big burst of flavour, and they're perfect for just either topping up with like soda, so you think like an elderflower and soda is a perfect thing, or with lemonade, like a lime and lemonade, or you could drop them straight into cocktails. Other things that do come under cordials, in my mind anyway, are things like tonic syrups and cola syrups, and if anyone's been on my Instagram, had to scroll through, see that I've made both of those over lockdown. I may do a video on how I made both of those from home, because they're quite successful. Tasted really good. So how do you use this cordial that you've made in a cocktail? Think of it the same as syrup. You really only want like 20 to 25 ml as a good starting point in your cocktail. The only difference it will have over syrup is it won't sweeten your cocktail as much because you've acidified it a little bit. Hopefully you've got the sweet and the sour aspects of your cordial perfect straight away, and you won't need to adjust it. So to keep in mind that if you're using something with a cordial, let's say you're making a highball, you've got your whiskey, you've got your cordial in there, you probably won't need to add any extra acidity despite having a syrupy product in there. So how would you go about making a cordial? As I've explained a couple of times already, it is just acidified syrup, so that's kind of the method you go with it. So I'll talk you through a rough method of how to make it, and also talk you through the cordial I'm currently making, and we'll use in the cocktail at the end. So you want to start with making a syrup. The cordials can be made like syrups out of anything: fruit, veg, spices, flowers, whatever you want. But what I would start doing is making your syrup. You can make it on the hob, you can make an oleo, whatever you want to do. So what I've done is I've actually made a lime zest oleo first. So I'm making a lime cordial. I thought I'd start with that because I want the nice fresh aromatics of the lime first. Obviously it's not a great deal of syrup there, so I'm going to lengthen it, as you would with any syrup. I've chosen to lengthen mine with something slightly different than just water. I'm actually currently brewing a fresh lemongrass and ginger tea thing here. So that's, you combine these two, dissolve the sugar, strain everything out afterwards. The ratios that I've used for this so far, the oleo is done exactly the same as I've described in previous videos. There's 1 part lime zest, 2 parts caster sugar. the amount of water that's in here is equal to the total weight of this. So trying to think in a ratio, you'd probably say that that's like 3. So I've got 1 lime zest, 2 sugar, 3 parts water so far for the combined thing. The lemongrass and ginger are considerably smaller amounts. I've got 4 grams of ginger in there that I've grated up, and I've also got 2 grams of lemongrass that's been cut quite small, to a quite small amount. This is just for surface area interaction. The greater the surface area, the more infusion happens easier. Temperature of the water, it was boiling when I put it in. It's been on the side about half an hour now, which is why I can pick it up and carry it. So it's cooled down a little bit. I'm just leaving it to infuse a little bit longer. So these 2 parts are separate. I will combine them, dissolve the sugar, strain everything out. Once I've strained everything out, I will then weigh the resulting liquid, and it's from there I'll figure out how much acidity to add. So I'm doing a lime cordial. I don't want to just add citric acid in, because that will be more similar to lemon juice and like lemon's milk makeup. So I want them to have a combination of acids. So I've actually got some malic acid powder and the good old citric acid powder from the strawberry juice we used. So I'm going to make a 4-to-1 citric to malic acid solution. So the amount of acid I'm going to add into mine is actually going to be 2.5% of the weight. So let's say that I end up with 100 grams of cordial at the end. I'm going to make sure that my total combined citric and malic acid that I add to it is no more than 2.5 grams. And 4-to-1 of that is going to be citric to malic. It may seem a bit confusing, but just know that 2.5% of the cordial is going to be acidic. And then we'll taste it and see what it's like. And if I don't decide it's not acidic enough, it needs a bit more, like the sugar's it's all too sweet, I'll add a bit more acid in. Always start lower, because if you add too much in, you can't take it back out again afterwards. But you can always add more. We'll work with all that, and we'll see what happens. So I realised that was quite a lot to work through, so I have left the recipe here for you guys to have a quick look at. Feel free to pause and have a go. It might make it all a bit easier to understand. When thinking about a cocktail to make with cordials, I was drawn straight to the gimlet. Hence I made a lime cordial. Gimlet is one of the oldest gin cocktails around, I think. It's been around forever, and it's just super simple. It's just gin and lime cordial. First created as a way of getting soldiers to keep their vitamin C regularly through lime juice, which was then being preserved by being made into lime cordial after Mr. Rose had figured out a way of keeping lime juice fresh on ships, was to concentrate it and add some acids in there. But being told to drink a measure of lime cordial every day isn't the most appealing thing. So one of the ship's captains came along and said, why don't we combine it with gin, make it a bit more nice for people to drink? And the gimlet was born. People say it's like a gin daiquiri, but it really is its own thing and deserves its own sort of centre of praise. But yeah, you can see why it's called a gin daiquiri. It is gin, lime and sugar, but the lime and sugar is already combined in the cordial. Real simple. Just take your gin, 60 mils worth of gin. We've got Star of Bombay today. Big measure of gin. Treat yourself. And then we just want 20 ml of our lime cordial, or lime, lemongrass and ginger cordial. And that's it. Ice and shake. So glad the hairdresser's open next week, because this looks like a right mop. And then got a fancy glass for a fancy cocktail. Normally with double strain, but I don't fancy trying to strain from a sieve into this. But yeah. there we go. A gimlet. Delicious. So that's about it really I can say about cordials. Really easy to make, makes delicious cocktails, and yeah, great. So that will be it for the time being on syrup-like things and playing with acids. Next week we're going to go into infusions, so we'll be playing with spirits and just like how to go about infusions properly, what kind of ratios we're looking at and time frames, and trying to lead you as best I can with that. Anyone who watches these regularly, if you've got any suggestions after infusions, what you'd want to have a video on, would be much appreciated. Otherwise, I will just keep running with it and trying to find something else each week to make a video on. But yeah, that's it for this week. I'm looking forward to this. So I'm going to drink this, and I will see you next week. Cheers, guys.